Amber sat on the side of the bed and gazed at the floor, while her fingers gripped the material of her nightshirt. Almost drowning out the maelstrom of emotions inside her was the repetitive sound of the ceiling fan's gentle hum, which filled the quiet. She no longer recognized the bedroom, which had previously been a place of warmth and laughter, and now felt frigid. With one hand on the wooden frame and the other against his temple, Trent stood close to the doorway. The familiar feeling of his thoughts slipping just out of reach was a dull ache that he could feel creeping in. The forgetfulness, the disorientation, the brief outbursts of frustration that made everyone around him cautious were occurring more frequently now. He was aware of Amber's patience. Too long. She didn't look at him the same way she used to. Her eyes were filled with tiredness, not rage or fire. It was a profound, throbbing fatigue that was more related to years of witnessing the man she loved change than it was to restless nights. They were silent for a long time. Amber looked up into the faint light, her eyes sparkling. The words felt thick on her tongue, even though she had practiced this discussion 100 times in her mind before coming here. When she eventually said, "Hello friends, hope you are well, please do subscribe, give this video thumbs up. You're different, Trent." Her voice was almost audible above a whisper. "And I'm not just talking about the little stuff. I mean everything." Trent lowered his fingers from his temple and let out a deep exhale. "I understand." Amber's throat lump was swallowed. "You make mistakes. You yell at the children and at me. Later on, you can't even recall what you said." Even if her voice faltered, she persisted. "I've tried to help you and be patient, but you won't allow me. You behave as though nothing is amiss." Trent's mouth clenched. On other evenings he had heard this before, albeit in different words. This time though, something in Amber's tone made his chest ache. His voice was raspy as he said, "Amber, I'm trying. Even I have no idea what's going on with me. Do you believe that this is how I want to be?" She gave a headshake. "No, I don't. However, that doesn't alter the reality that you are." They were silent for a long time. Her remarks put more pressure on Trent's shoulders than he could handle. Searching for anything to ground him, he scanned the room. A framed picture on the dresser caught his attention. Years ago, when things were simpler, it was taken. With her arms encircling him, and their kids crammed into the frame, Amber was seen in the photo laughing and beaming. They were a different person. It was a version that seemed so distant. Amber sighed softly as she followed his eyes. "I'm not sure how I can continue doing this." Trent's heart was racing as he turned back to her. "What are you saying then?" He knew when she looked him in the eyes. "I believe we should part ways," she muttered. Like an echo that would not go away, the words lingered in the air. With his mind racing to take in what she had just said, Trent blinked. He repeated, "Separate?" as though saying it out loud would make it seem less genuine. Amber's hands clenched into fists in her lap as she paused. "I see no other way." Trent inhaled slowly and deliberately, yet his chest hurt as if he had just been struck. He rubbed his face and turned away for a moment, forcing himself to remain calm. Amber wiped her face of a tear. "I cherish you, Trent. I always will." However, her voice broke as she gestured between them. "We didn't promise each other this life." In order to convince her that they could resolve this, he wanted to argue that they could find their way back if they simply put in more effort. If he put in more effort. But he knew in his heart that she was correct. Despite the fact that it felt like the hardest thing he had ever done, Trent nodded and released a slow, nervous breath. Amber watched him, ready for him to confront her and correct her. But she came to a devastating realization when he didn't, when he simply stood there, motionless and resigned. Because he no longer knew how to fight, he stopped. She stood up, her vision obscured by tears. She passed him and stopped briefly in the doorway. One last thing she wanted to do was say anything. However, the words never appeared. Trent stood there, his world changing beneath his feet, knowing that nothing would ever be the same again. But she chose to leave. And there's more. In the most recent episode of Season 15, Trent Johnston experienced a very trying time due to the death of his father. On the show, he was managing his aging parents' health concerns. When his poppy died, the 7 little Johnstons star sobbed in a recent episode. Trent delivered a heartfelt eulogy in honor of her late father. But he found it difficult to discuss him. During the current season, Trent is also coping with a health concern. It must therefore be too much for him to handle. In addition to his own health problems, he had to cope with the unexpected death of his father. What recollections did he have of his father? How did he bid his Poppy farewell? Read on to find out about his heartfelt farewell. Trent and Amber have shared a lot of information about their family on 7 Little Johnstons throughout the years. Numerous other friends and family members were presented as supporting characters. However, because of their sincere attitudes, Trent's parents, Poppy and Nana, gained popularity. Trent recently visited Poppy to see how he was doing with his sister Heidi. He required round-the-clock care, so they chose to place him in a nursing facility. The siblings understood it was crucial, but it was a difficult choice. They were aware that everything could go wrong, and that things were not looking good. Being apart from the family was never easy, so Trent and the entire family were concerned about Poppy. Unfortunately, due to his failing health, he has lost his father permanently. As a result, the reality TV star has made the decision to pay tribute to his deceased father. In the most recent episode, Trent Johnston has been experiencing a range of emotions. He has been coping with his father Poppy's passing. Following the devastating news, the TLC star is devastated. Trent recently gathered with his loved ones to read a heartfelt eulogy he had written for his deceased father. In a unique homage, he said his father farewell. Dad was a devoted Georgia Bulldogs and Atlanta Braves fan, the 7 Little Johnstons star said. Trent recalled accompanying him to Fulton County Stadium to watch the games. He mentioned how his father would always park in an old man's driveway and give him a few bucks. He also recalled purchasing boiled peanuts from the same old street seller every day while passing through a tunnel. Every time the seller welcomed him, the reality TV star reportedly questioned his father how he knew his name. As a result, Trent's father taught him a valuable lesson that affected him greatly. Being a little person, people will always remember you, he said to him. What they recall about you is up to you. Trent also took a moment to wipe away his tears before sharing a lesson she learned from her father. He described the difficulty of losing one's parents. On March 10, 2024, the reality TV personality shared a message on the death of his mother. Viewers are witnessing the family on 7 Little Johnstons deal with the death of Trent's father, Poppy. In a recent video, Trent is seen sharing his eulogy with his family while grieving his loss. Trent also shared a lesson he learned from his father at the tearful occasion. The focus of the TLC show 7 Little Johnstons is a family of 7, headed by parents Trent and Amber, all of whom have dwarfism. Since the show's premiere in 2015, viewers have witnessed the family's development, transformation, and range of emotional experiences. The family were worried about the former's parents' care throughout season 15. Sadly, Trent's father, Walter Pete Lawrence Johnston, popularly known as Poppy, passed away in the 7th episode. The death of Trent's father occurred on March 10, 2024. When he passed away, he was 90 years old. As previously mentioned, on March 12, 2024, Trent shared an homage to his father on Instagram. With a blue heart emoji added, it said, "Heaven gained an amazing man, our Poppy." Trent read a eulogy to his family members in a recent episode of the show. He began by reminiscing about Poppy, saying, "Dad was an avid Georgia Bulldogs and Atlanta Braves fan. I recall accompanying him to few Braves games at Fulton County Stadium. Every time he parked in this elderly man's driveway, he could give him a few bucks." Trent went on to say that his father and he would frequently get cooked peanuts from the same elderly street vendor. The peanut man would always say, "Hello, Mr. Pete," he added. "I questioned Dad about how he was able to constantly recall his name. People will always remember you as a little child, which is one of the many life lessons Dad taught us all. What they recall about you is up to you." He also said, "We are little people," Trent added. "Our size may be used by some to judge us. Squeeze your hand firmly when you shake hands with someone's son. Share your strength with them." Trent reflected on losing a loved one on the confessionals, writing, "It is tragic when your parents die. However, having a dad who was steadfast in their faith, a man like Poppy, is a blessing because it gives us someone else to confide in. And I'm just not saying that," Trent added. "That is what I truly mean. Now we just got to get through tomorrow, Trent said after hearing some encouraging comments. Many followers expressed their condolences in response to the Instagram post. Trent's message about what he had learned from his father was discussed by many. Among the remarks were, Emma Johnston, star of 7 Little Johnstons, recently had a glamorous moment when shopping and trying on 3 glitzy prom dresses. She is in high school and is learning a great deal. Last year, she and her date attended a prom. She apparently ran out of luck though, because her boyfriend moved on to someone else. Luca Ranigan was a boy Emma once liked. She may still be doing well in her single life when they were in love. She didn't mind that she didn't have a date because she was an adult and of dating age. She doesn't want to get emotionally involved with anyone and is her own wingman. What was her appearance like in the prom dresses? Which one did she choose? Because of Emma Johnston's actions on Christmas last year, fans of 7 Little Johnstons had to put her on a hot seat once more. She must be reprimanded for the strange stunt. She reposted last year's Christmas post since she received negative feedback, even though it's not unusual for celebrities to do so. The entire Johnston family was included in the photo, including Leighton, Anna and Liz's infant daughter, who was only a month old at the time. Since Emma is no longer close to Anna, many people claimed that Trent and Amber have influenced her. They believe that by abandoning them and not celebrating Christmas, the reality star wished to avoid the family rumors. Emma Johnston signed up for senior prom to celebrate reaching a new high school milestone. Emma was pictured with her mother, aunt, and cousin in an exclusive clip from the February 18th episode that People was able to secure. The 19-year-old accompanied them on a prom dress buying trip. Emma found it enjoyable to style every gown she saw. She began by wearing a stunning gown covered in sequins in royal blue. She didn't particularly like it though, because it didn't fit the Under the Sea theme or dress code. After trying on 3 different gown options, she decided on a tangerine sequin gown and a sky blue lace mermaid dress. Emma remarked that the second costume was her favorite, and Amber quipped that she has said this whole senior year it was going to be blue. Since it was the final prom, Trent's little daughter in the video promised to bring a date this time. She accompanied her cousin Ella to the prom last year. Amber talked candidly about the problems young people had when buying prom dresses, while she watched her daughter Emma search for a dress. She clarified that, regrettably, their achondroplasia dwarfism prevents them from reselling the pricey modified item. Emma's sister even nodded her head and spoke up about the difficulties. Let us know in the comments. And stay tuned by subscribe to our channel to get more updates like this. Thank you. Bye guys.